Nacho Average Tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Showers Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're talking about the top 10 games we hate. Now, the top 10 games we wanted to love, or thought we would love, but did not end up necessarily loving. So, trying to stay positive. This is about as negative as we will get. It's more along the lines of, at least the ones I picked. We'll see kind of what you picked, Pepper. I don't know. Maybe it's just games you absolutely hate. But these for me are mostly games that I was really hoping that I would love, would make the tops of my lists, and instead I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I would say I like and I enjoy my plays of all of these games. I just was hoping they would maybe be a top tier game for me personally. So,
Hmm.
not bad games. I would still recommend.
Okay, okay. I guess did you want to start with yours, or do you want me to start?
I can start with mine. I'll start with one that I
Well,
probably
actually, I'll let the audience start. If you got any games that you were
yes.
hoping to love, but ended up not liking, or maybe liking a little bit but not loving necessarily, let us know in the comments below which games those are for you. Otherwise, we've got a bunch of kind of lists similar to this going out, so subscribe to check those out. If we have any out before this, I don't know which order we're releasing these in, so depending on the order, we might have some linked below already, might not. But yeah, now you can start, Pepper.
Now I'll start, and I'll say some of these. I'm, I think at least one of them I've only played once, and I'm sure there's others that could definitely benefit from more and more plays. So it's not a totally fair, complete final list. But my
That's
first
fair though.
one,
I have the same.
yeah, my first one, I'll go with probably the one that is maybe the shortest gap between what I was hoping and how much I actually enjoyed. I do enjoy it quite a bit, and this is a game that it's one of your favorites, and I know you think that we don't enjoy it as much as you do, but and while we don't, I do enjoy this one still, and that is Glenmore 2 Chronicles. This is one that when you showed it to me and asked, "Oh, should I get this game?" I looked up how it played and saw that tile placement mechanism where you place down a tile and activate everything around it. And I'm like, "Oh, I just absolutely love that. This is going to be just like Carcassonne, but it's different, and it's going to be one of my favorite games ever. And it looks phenomenal. And as we played it, I love that mechanism. I love that part of the game just as much as I thought I would. Just the scoring and some other parts of the game, that extra, the map that you can move around, it's not bad, but just the scoring is a little wonky, and I don't know if I've fully gotten used to it, or maybe I just really don't like it. It's sadly just not top tier for me, where even now thinking about this game I get excited just because I really love that core mechanism, but something about it just keeps it from being uh, one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I do myself really love this one, but I would say probably the weakest part of it is that scoring. I do kind of wish there was just maybe a little bit different to it, but um, that might just be part of the game too, and making sure you get some of those other tiles that allow you to convert things into points as well on the side. Um, but yeah, I can definitely see the argument for that part being disappointing and not letting it get to that top tier.
Yeah, yeah. So this is still one that I could see making my top 50. Just not quite top 10.
Okay. For me, my number 10, I've actually played it a few more times recently, and that is after having sold the game, which I was very excited about for a long while. And then we played it, and it was less exciting for me than I was hoping. That's Memoir 44. Uh, I don't know if it was just some of the kind of the restrictions. I think we might have been playing a couple things wrong, so it was on a little bit on us as well, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it wasn't as like smooth as I'd hoped it would be.
Yep.
Especially since I think so. We've got tribes from Days of Wonder. I don't know if we have some other Days of Wonder games, and that one
Ticket to
just
Ride.
even though it's a lot, seems very smooth to me.
Yep.
Ticket to Ride too, yes, seems very smooth. And then this one just didn't quite get that. I mean, there's a lot of smoothness to it, but there are those kind of line of sight questions.
Oh, yeah.
The different terrain types kind of do slightly different things and in and out of them, depending on what it is. Just remembering some of those things was a little bit more difficult than I would have liked. But recently on Board Game Arena, I guess we have played it, and there it handles all that kind of stuff for me, making it a lot better, a lot easier to set up. Not that setup was crazy on this one, but it just was one of those additional things that kind of for me like kept it from being one that I loved, and it was just more of one that I'm like, every now and then can bring it out, but not always that excited to try to bring it out. But now I think I'll probably end up playing it a little bit more on Board Game Arena, so there is that.
Yeah.
I think this one's like 20 years old, so who knows if
Oh, yeah, it is.
we'll get a
It's a
20th
little-
anniversary of it
Yes,
coming up.
metal tanks. Oh, that would be nice. But yeah, I agree with you completely. This is now. It always was my number 9 for sure. Just conveniently going right after you mention it. Memoir 44 had to be on my list because I know Sam Healy convinced us that this is going to be our favorite game, one of our favorite games. And like you said, we played it. I think getting into it, expecting it to be so easy, then being caught up on some of those little rules kind of killed it in those first plays for us. Didn't kill it. It was still fun, but just wasn't what we were looking for. But I am really glad that this has grown on Board Game Arena. And the few plays I've had of it, it's really starting to move up there, and I'm getting more and more excited, wanting to play it. So much more than I ever did for the years that we had.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, once you know how to play, I'm sure if we played it a lot, and understood all of those really well, it would have been a lot smoother. So partially on us, but at the same time, I was just hoping to get right into it and immediately love it, and that definitely did not happen. But this one, it could, like you said, on Board Game Arena, continue to grow. So we will see. We'll see where this one is in a couple of years, maybe. But then I guess since you did your number 9, number 9, I will do my number 9, and this is a game from a designer of one of my favorite games, and this one I think was actually ranked better than the one that I really love. And it was one we had a debate between two similarly themed games as to which one to get, and I wanted to get this one, and you wanted to get the other one, and we got the other one, which was Western Legends, and eventually got Great Western Trail. And I think at that point I had maybe played it once or twice on Board Game Arena, and this was one that, again, I didn't hate, but with my high expectations coming out of Maracaibo and knowing people saying this one was great and it being higher ranked on Board Game Geek, I was like, oh, this one, and it's a Western theme, which I tend to like in games. So I'm like, oh, all those things together are going to be really good. This is going to be one of my all-time favorites, possibly. And it just didn't really ever live up to that hype. I played it, I feel like several times, kind of all right back to back to back, kind of. And then now it's been a while since I've even played it, so I didn't get all that excited to go back to it. In the second edition, I do like the meeples with the hats on them, and this is one that I do want to get back to, and maybe it could end up becoming something that I would put higher on, maybe an all-time list at some point. But it just didn't kind of catch me the way I was really hoping it would. I was really hoping that it would be kind of an all-time favorite, and I'd be one I'd take out, a lot more often. And it just has not been that for me. But I didn't hate this one either. This one, I think I did enjoy it, but it's tough because in my mind, even though they're not that similar, I'm just like, I'd probably rather play Maracaibo, so it makes it tough.
And if you want Western, you would probably want to play Western Legends instead. So maybe, I guess I don't know if you would.
Yeah, that one's kind of lost some for me a little bit too, it seems like, but that one, it definitely is a totally different feeling game than this. That's definitely way more kind of sandboxy feel versus this. For definitely the Feaster Euro feel.
Yes, and apparently I'm not a fan of that sandboxy feel. because Western Legends is next up on my list. Like
Ooh.
you said, and you can see I still have it an 8. And I guess maybe that's down to a 2 now.
I think your Glenmore 2 is like an 8.75, so you have pretty high expectations, Pepper. If
Yes.
it ain't a 9, I
Maybe
ain't in love.
maybe I just can't admit that I hate these games. I had to put it at an 8. But yeah, like you said, we kind of talked, and I got my way and got the Western Legends into our collection. Just I don't know. I think I'm not good at the game, and I like to stick to that same simple strategy of getting gold and selling gold, and that's probably not the funnest way to play the game every time, but just a little intimidated by all the maybe switching from the good to the bad, or having to
Mhm.
keep on the good the whole time. And the combat is something that I
Yeah.
haven't really explored. The little bits of the rules with card play is always, I've never really fully understood it. I know there's a whole large sheet of little icons and rules to remember. And so I don't know, something about this, I just sadly never really got into it. I don't
Mhm.
know, not the most dramatic gamer, I guess. Maybe that hurts it a little bit. But yeah, I was excited for this one and just never really got going. It's fun, but not, I think I enjoy it probably the least of the group.
Oh, yeah. I guess I did not realize that. I thought you did enjoy this one quite a bit more than that, but yeah, it's still an 8, so it's not like you hate
Still
it.
good. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I would say that another thing about it that it's so hard to be bad in the game, I feel like. And maybe it's just because most of the time we only have like one person being bad, and if it's just one, I think it's probably pretty difficult for them because all the other players will just send the sheriff on those cards towards that one player.
Yeah.
So maybe if we did have a game where a lot of people were trying to be bad, then there's kind of more going on. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's kind of a meta in our group with the kind of gold into money into points or whatever type thing, but
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
just be our own groups doing. But yeah,
Yes.
it's another one that hasn't gotten to the table recently and really should probably. So give it another go. Uh, but kind of getting away from this deserty feel, we're bringing a lot of water into
Oh,
this next one. A lot of
oh
water,
boy.
so much that we might be underwater, and that is underwater cities. This one is one that, um, yeah, I think a top 100 game on Board Game Geek, and I know a lot of people were comparing at the time, or I'd seen
Or
several videos before I got it, where they were like, "Oh, underwater cities are terraforming Mars, underwater cities terraforming Mars," and I had then played Terraforming Mars. I really love Terraforming Mars, so I'm like, why not both if they're that good? And so then I got this kind of hoping for that feel, and I just feel like the times I've played this, I haven't quite felt that same level. I haven't hated this one, and I really should probably play it even more because I've played more of Suchi's games since this one, I think, and I've really enjoyed them. So maybe it was just at the time, maybe I wasn't
yeah.
feeling it or wasn't ready for this style of game. And maybe now looking at it, I would enjoy it more. I guess I'm not
Oh,
100% sure on that, but yeah, I really thought the theme seemed unique going under there, kind of having these different looking components to normal. I mean, usually you got these Euro type things and components instead, and kind of beige, and you got more underwater feel here. Uh, so yeah, I was just really hoping this one would be a top game for me, and it just never quite got there for me.
yeah.
But
Yeah. I enjoyed my one play of this. It is, I guess, I don't know how much you played it, but surprising to me that I have not gotten back to it because it seemed cool, and I think I did win, so that probably gave it a little boost for me. Thinking, oh, this is a good game here. But yeah,
yeah,
I don't know if it felt all that much like Terraforming Mars.
no,
Um,
I think that was maybe I was going into it with the wrong expectations or something. That could possibly be it. I think it was
yeah.
maybe compared to it because you are kind of getting a kind of tableau of cards to yourself that you're using and stuff. So maybe in that way, kind of some engine buildy feels to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since we've played this one now as well, and I think the most recent one was probably when we did our alphabet challenge, and I think
Oh,
I enjoyed it quite a bit after playing it. But I feel like that was the case with a lot of these games that I thought that I didn't really like, and we went back and played a lot of them because I thought, oh, this will help us kind of cull some of the games that I'm like, if I force myself to play it and I don't like it, I can get rid of it easier.
yeah.
And instead, what it did was it was like, wow, that was actually pretty good. It was even better than I remember sometimes. And I'm like, maybe I just wasn't in that gaming part of my life yet.
Yeah.
I feel like that does kind of happen, I think,
It
sometimes
does.
where
Yeah.
you're definitely in the mood for certain types of games at different points in your life. Um, Even if like at some point you're like, I'm really digging heavy games, then you might go on a streak where it's like, that's just too much. I need King Domino in my life.
Yeah. Always, King Domino's always there. Let's stick with going underwater, except that you aren't going under the water. The water is rising up to swallow Atlantis for the second time in the second edition of Atlantis Rising. For some reason, I thought this was also a top 100 game. It's not even close. Uh, this one have only played once, and it went well. I guess I don't even know what I have this rated. It's still an 8, which it probably feels a little lower. I probably a little generous, maybe, but
Yeah.
um, just I always go back to my numbers, and I'm like, okay, that's not right. Comparing these two 8s, they're not even close. Uh, but this was still a good one, and it was fun. But I think I was looking for another Pandemic here, and I absolutely love Pandemic. And this one just didn't give me the same feel as Pandemic. It was a nice race against time, and
Hmm.
it really did feel like your options were getting limited more and more and more. But for some reason, it just didn't click immediately like Pandemic did for me. And definitely do have to give it more tries. I have only played it once. And
Hmm.
like I said, I did enjoy it. It's got a phenomenal production. Uh, but I just heard so much about this one for so long by certain Dice Tower members, and just was a little like, oh, that was all right, but not quite my
Yeah.
top co-op.
Yeah, I feel like Pandemic is much more streamlined feeling, whereas this one it felt like you're sometimes doing even more work on top of trying to keep things back. Uh,
It's like,
from that
okay,
one play that we played, but it has been a while since I played it, but that's kind of how I remember it being kind of more of a tougher thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
no,
if you go into it thinking, oh yeah, Pandemic,
yeah,
maybe just with a kind of a few different types of mechanisms, and then it just yeah, it's not quite as kind of quick, snappy feeling as
yeah,
Pandemic is.
yeah.
Whereas you can kind of assess it pretty easily. This one, like, you're even like, aren't you rolling dice and stuff too?
Oh, yeah.
So then you might not even end up getting exactly what you want. Whereas in Pandemic, it's not like, oh, it's totally shocking. I can't move now or do this or do that. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. But no, this one, I definitely, I think we do have to play this one again. So
for sure.
put it on the list. Then my next one, I don't know how to go into this one from where we are, so I'm just going to say it. Gugong is
Oh
a
boy.
game that uh, I don't know. I really love the artwork in this game, and I thought the idea of having kind of this board with almost like mini game feeling things, different areas that you're doing. It's not really mini game feeling, or not really mini games, but like it just kind of has that feel to it that you're doing slightly different things in these different areas of the board. I thought that just looked really cool, and the thought of kind of trading in these cards and stuff, so a larger value over the top of a different ones that you could do the action and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool, and uh, you have that kind of track up the top where you're. I feel like other games have that, like Coimbra, and I feel like there's another one. What other game has that kind of where you're going on a grid and picking up bonuses and stuff? I feel
Oh,
like there's probably another. There's
yeah.
other games that do that, but it had that has that one there. Just a lot of different cool things, and for some reason, it just there's pieces of it that just felt like it was grindy. I don't know if it was some of that card play that I thought was going to feel really cool and slick, just did not feel that way because sometimes you wouldn't have what you needed, and then or wouldn't have like large enough cards. then you wouldn't be able to take these actions, and then or you'd have to like skip an action in order to be able to do an action. I don't. It's been a long time since I played it, so I don't remember exactly how. I know there were ways you could mitigate it and stuff, but it was definitely expensive and difficult to do. I think if you did not have the right cards to replace them, and yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to love this game, and it just never got there for me. And I don't know that anyone else really loved it that much either, which probably didn't help it. Uh, so it maybe didn't get all of it that it deserved, and that might be another one that I did play. It probably was before we really got into a lot of heavy games, so
Oh, yeah.
maybe trying it again kind of now might be a different feeling than it was originally.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because we got this pretty early. This is
We did.
one that had to
I
be
was back
one
at
of
my
the top.
apartment, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah,
that was when we had a collection of like 20 games. So
and we were still making top 10 lists even back then.
we were.
I'd like to see some of those papers. Oh boy, where do we go from here? How to lead into what one fits best here? Well, this is slightly kind of Asian theme, right? A little bit of Asian theme. So let's go from wherever this is set. I guess where is this set? I doubt. Okay, who knows? Medieval. Okay,
China.
whatever. China. We're going for China. We're going to Hong Kong, and we're being deceitful.
Ooh.
Deception, murder in Hong Kong. Still,
This one almost made my list.
yeah. Everyone that we had watched the Dice Tower loved this as a party game, and I love the concept of it. You witness a murder, and you can't really speak, but you can put these little bullets, cool little bullets, out onto different hints to kind of show. So the murderer, everyone closes their eyes, the murderer chooses a weapon and a place or something like that, a weapon and evidence left behind. And the hinter, the person who knows, has to hint with these various cards to show like the duration of the crime. And if you do it brief, you would say maybe a gun or a gunshot. It is very quick. It would be a brief duration of the crime, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a really cool way to handle kind of deduction and bluffing. But I don't like bluffing. I don't like lying, and I don't like being the very obvious killer. Maybe making bad choices of the items in front of me, of what I choose to be the things, maybe panicking and picking a little too quickly, not looking at what other people have, and then quickly realizing that it's a very obvious I'm the only one who could have done this. And I'm just not good at that, and I'm not comfortable with that. And so much that even one of the games, I forced an innocent roll on myself because I'm like, I don't want to be lying this time. I am not in the mood. And I finally confessed that.
I think that yeah, this one just probably wasn't for our group. I think it is definitely very group dependent, and if you are good at lying, willing to do that, if you can have fun with that, it helps. But yeah, I think part of it is, I don't know, it feels very difficult too, because you can try to look around at what other people have and stuff, but then like you don't want to make like too much movement or weird things, because then all of a sudden you give yourself away immediately, and then you're gonna have to lie the whole game because maybe the person next to you noticed you move, which is unfortunate. That shouldn't be part of the game.
But then,
but
sometimes, even if they find out one half of your evidence and your thing, you can just be like, "Yeah, I did it," but you don't know where I did it or what evidence I left.
That's
behind.
true.
So you can just go all out like that because they have to get it perfect, which is exactly how it works.
Right, exactly.
Best to it, and still.
But yeah, I was much more hopeful for this one as well. But I think learning it now, like some of these deception type games, or where someone has to lie and stuff, and it just is, it's very difficult, especially if you don't have many people that are good at it. Or if you do have someone, even a couple people that are just really bad at it. It's just very hard, and then that's not fun that way either.
Yeah.
Like it's just very obvious.
Yeah.
Because they get very uncomfortable. It's
yeah.
like, wow, that's not really fun for anyone either. So yeah, that one could have been on my list as well. But yeah, my next one we will stay in Asia, and this is one, and a few of these now, a few of the rest of these I've only played once. This is one that I've only played once, and it is the Great Wall.
Well, I guess.
This was one that, yeah, I was really hoping to love. It was one that I had thought about backing the first time that it had come onto GameFound, and then I think it did come back. So I'm like, I've been thinking about this one the whole time, and for some reason, then, because initially I thought this would only play better at higher player counts, and I think that might still be true, of at least 3 or 4 players, maybe. I guess I like it. The only game I've played of this has been at 3, so it is. I have no way of saying for sure that it isn't also good at 2. But that was kind of the reason that kept me back the first time from backing it. But then I think I had heard that it was fine at 2 to 3, so I was like, okay. Then I'm fine getting into it because I think it really looks like a cool. I love the artwork. I love the minis. It all just looked pretty cool, and it was kind of worker placement driven and stuff. And it has the mechanic where one person plays a card and they get a benefit, and the other people get like a lesser benefit or something as well, I believe. It's been a while since I played this one, but then I think what really hurt this is even though they've had time to update the rule book, the rules were still not great, and that just like so many times brought the game to a halt, and it's just like this is just taking us like 3 to 4 hours to play, and it really shouldn't. It's not that type of experience. Like when it's a worker placement game to me, it's still most of those I think should not probably take 3 to 4 hours. There's maybe the rare circumstance, but I don't think that this one should. And obviously, I think if we did play it a lot more, it would be. But it was just such a, I don't know, just such a bad experience, especially for the other players too. That it's just like I just feel bad asking, especially like Michaela or Abby to play it again. So maybe I'm sure they would if I asked, but yeah, it was just I was just hoping it would be smoother than that, and I think they did update the rules and stuff, so I was like, okay, people had said that the rule book can be kind of not great, but I thought they took their time and redid things, so I'm assuming now it'll be much smoother, and I did not get that feeling from it, and yeah, unfortunately, that's kept it from going back to the table. So. And I got like all the extra content with it as well, and like none of it fits back in the box. Like even those walls and stuff I put together, and the way I have it anyway, does not fit back in the box. So I might have to like just end up eventually just bagging kind of the components instead of putting all the minis in the things. But
yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Let me know in the comments below if you've had the Great Wall or if you own it, and maybe you had to play it multiple times before you felt like it got to where you wanted it. Because if that is the case, I mean, it might be worth exploring, but yeah, I know Michaela has not asked. Are we going to play the Great Wall again? Although she has said, I think Zachary would play the Great Wall with you. So,
oh, she wants.
She herself has not offered to play it, but
she can't let you know that she loves the game. Otherwise, she'd be stuck playing all these games.
That's true.
Okay, we're going from a wall to a hall of the Mountain King. This one is I talked this one up. It's got an 8.5, but that's I think I probably bumped that up from just thinking back on the game and what I want it to be. And I want this to be in my top 10 of all time. I love the look of the game, and it's kind of got 3 aspects to it. You've got a little bit of polyomino tile placement out on the board where you're going and kind of picking up and delivering different statues onto their podiums, which is fun and it's cool, but we gotta get a good picture of this. Yes, the most fun part of this game is this cascading production. So, well, this is the market here, but it pretty much ends up like this. You have your cards on the bottom, and when you place a new one, it produces what's on it and it just trickles down. Everything below it that provides structure for it also produces. So if you just place this one right here, this will produce, and then this one and this one will also produce. And the resources stay on there. So if you haven't quite cleared everything off, you produce, you're kind of losing some resources and losing some production. So you really want to clear it all off before you add another card to your tableau. I just love all these core parts of the game, and I'm like, oh, that's just a home run. And for some reason, it just hasn't. I don't know if it's just lack of plays. I haven't played it that much. I don't know if I've played it even 5 times, but it's one that I'm just always excited about it when I'm thinking about it. And then I enjoy my plays, but it's just never quite been top 10 like I want it to be. And I don't think it made my top 50 or 60 last year, so it's a big letdown, but I still have hope that I'm gonna get a few
As an 8.5, Pepper.
As an 8.5. Yes, still have hope that maybe I'll get a few plays in back to back and maybe skyrocket it and really get the juices going.
Yeah, there are a few things about this one that I think do, for some reason, hold it back. I don't know. Just a few things that feel a little bit kind of grindy sometimes, and this one kind of like Everdell to me is one where sometimes I think I try to be too efficient, and that isn't the name of the game, because once 2 people complete their cascading thing like this, well, depending on player count, either 1 or 2, the game kind of ends after another couple turns. So you might be being really efficient with your resources and then just adding those cards kind of once you get those resources off, but you can get to the point where you haven't even like been able to trigger all these things multiple times and have just wasted their ability, which
I can last forever. Doesn't matter.
Right. Which is really unfortunate. But yeah, that one probably holds me back a little bit from this one too. This would have been in my probably top 15.
I don't know why I say nice. I mean, that's like nice. You were a little disappointed with it as well.
Then my next one is also one I've only played once, and it was one that was also Kickstarter or GameFound, like The Great Wall. This is one that I really love the artwork. It's amazing artwork, and I was hoping that I'd really enjoy it. And I did like what it offered, but at the same time, it felt like I played this one with you. That is my one play of it. And I have like a bunch of expansions that came with it, and it is Endless Winter. So this was one that I was really hoping to love because it kind of has these Euro-y things all together and stuff. It was kind of named in this big 3 with Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnak.
It came out too late.
And then, it was kind of delayed in comparison with them. Because they both kind of just went straight to release, whereas this one, I think, came out around the same time, but it was crowdfunding at the same time. And then it kind of got, I think, maybe lost in the shuffle a little bit more. And there's a lot of fun things on this, but the one play we had of it, me and you both like just did almost everything we wanted to do, and it's fun. That is fun, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know if maybe we just got lucky, maybe we were playing something wrong. We could have been, but there's something a little unsatisfying sometimes about being able to do everything and be like, okay, well, if every time I play this game, am I always going to be able to do everything? Because then I don't know if that'll be quite as enjoyable. This one I have to try again. I think I remember enjoying the play of it. It just was, I don't know, that outcome of us both being able to do that. When I would argue we are not like the all-time best gamers. We probably had a lot of AP and took a lot of time. So maybe if we put timers on ourselves in our turns so we couldn't optimize everything, we probably would have struggled more maybe. But and maybe too at lower player counts, maybe it's easier to do that. Could be.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't really remember all the gameplay, but I remember enjoying it, and it's a great production. Great artwork.
Yes, it is. It is.
So this one I got to get back to.
Yeah, I don't remember just being blown away by any particular part of it, though, either. So.
Yeah, that's true. There were a lot of different pieces and kind of, I don't know if they were all kind of just put together,
Mm.
ragtag.
Okay, we'll go another one that the artwork, the cover art of this one drew me in for sure. And it's a game that thankfully you and Michaela have grown to really love, and that is The Ancient World, the
Mm.
the second edition. Where are we? We'll go into here first. This one, absolutely love that cover when I saw it. And then I saw that the elephant had 4 eyes, and then I'm like, okay, never mind. It's a little creepy. That drops it quite a bit, but I really like the look of it. What did I give this one? Gave it an 8. Okay, now that's a 7. I must have only looked at the cover since then. But it's good. It looks amazing, and I like some parts of it with the combat. I especially like fighting the different monsters, and the worker placement is pretty approachable and pretty simple, but I don't think that that's like the type of game that I'm just drawn to absolutely love.
Mhm.
Just being a worker placement game, and I don't know, just never really clicked for me. So I was very hyped just based on the cover, and it's all right game, but I definitely don't like it nearly as much as you or Michaela, especially Michaela. I think she loves this one.
Mhm. Yeah, and I from the cover, I actually was very not interested in this one, so
Yeah.
I probably would not have played it if not for you. And I did not realize it was well, probably from the cover, I would not have realized it was more of a Euro style game with the worker placement and kind of having different values. I do really like that of being able to still
Mm,
take a worker placement action if you have a worker that's larger than the one that's previously placed there. I think that's really cool. And yeah, just the combat system of kind of using your older troops, flipping them over, and kind of getting some benefit to make your newer troops better. I think that's really cool.
yeah.
And yeah, the set collection's fun as well.
There's a lot of good
I think
stuff.
this one's pretty solid.
Looking
Pretty
at it, I'm
solid.
like, I like those banners, that set collection, the numbered workers. I like that too, and it's beautiful. It's a good game, and definitely an underrated one, I think, from Ryan Walken.
I 100% agree. Have not played some of his like big time hits of like the near and far and the above and below or whatever, but those story based ones more. I think this one is definitely the Euros, Ryan Lockett's Euro game. Well, and then we will continue with my third straight crowdfunded game. So note this to back. Wow, wow, wow. No, no, no. Just for any backers out there, just note sometimes you get excited about things, or at least I do. Maybe you don't succumb to the FOMO that I succumb to. But I got this one because it was another nice looking game, another great artwork, great cover, and it is another one that had things that I thought I would enjoy quite a bit. And I just it's another one that kind of feels like it's a really long game. There may be a little grindiness to it, and that is Merchants of the Dark Road. And
Yes.
actually, I saw recently they're running another campaign for an expansion, and I'm like, I almost never hear anyone talk about this game, and I kind of assumed that maybe it just was kind of dead content, probably,
Yeah.
just because I didn't know if maybe it just wasn't one people love that much. But yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
very curious as to what that will do. I don't know if it'll
It might fix everything.
help. I don't know if it'll help and make it a little cleaner, but
Yeah.
I do. This is another one. It very much is similar to Endless Winter, where it's got several things going on here on the board, different areas of the board, and sometimes it just doesn't feel like it flows as well as I would like it to. And you're activating these dice on your caravan. It's another great production,
Mm.
awesome production. You got that magnetic
Oh,
spinner there,
played
which is
around.
awesome, all time awesome.
You can throw it,
And
and it'll just suck right onto there. It's
it will.
fantastic.
It really is. And yeah, I love the look of this whole game and all the components and stuff, but it's just something about it is just a bit of a bear. It's a tough one to get to the table. It's not as clean. I feel like it should just be really easy to go to that spot and take the action and be
Yeah.
done, but I don't know what it is about it, but something about it just makes it not quick. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shame because that's like one of my favorite, maybe the favorite cover from what is it, Andrew Bosley. artist. It's just phenomenal. I love the setting, and it's just something about it is kind of a slog. And on replay, it was a little better,
Yeah.
where it was like, okay, we're probably going to get rid of this, and then on replay, it's like starting to get just a little glimmers of the things that I really like in it.
Mhm.
Just I don't think enough to keep it, but maybe the expansion is going to just fix everything for us.
But they've got me in there with like a personal thing of the backers all had their names in the cover, and I'm just like, my name's in there. I can't just get rid of this.
The piece
Even
of
though that's a terrible, terrible reason to keep a game that you're just not getting to the table and someone else could easily be enjoying. Uh, I don't. This was another one during the alphabet challenge we did that after playing I'm like but yeah, it's got some good stuff in it. Just I think even that play though it still did feel grindy and I don't know.
I think
See.
that's two Elf Creek games. I think Atlantis Rising second edition is also Elf Creek, so they just know how to disappoint.
Oh boy, Honey Buzz is his next one.
Oh, that'd be something. That'd be something. Just stumbled into that. But no,
yeah,
Honey
let
Buzz.
me know too for some of these games that I have said that we've only played, a couple times. Do have you experienced these and played them a lot? Did you feel similar? Did you feel like, but after more plays that it started not feeling that way? Because, that'd be great to know because, yeah, some of these I do feel like they have some good stuff. It's just a matter of, it just feels like I'm walking against the wind or something. A very strong gale force wind.
Yeah, we are not very disciplined to be getting back to our games and play them multiple times. So that certainly probably could help some of these games. And my number 3 is a game, keeping the shocking ones for last. My number 3 is a game from a designer that we love, the cleverest designer out there, Bruno Cathala. And he had released a game in recent years, a pretty big box game, and it had beautiful artwork. I think the same artist who does Bunny Kingdom, and actually was surprised to see it on some top of the year list, I think, and maybe even Z's top 100 of all time. And that is Orichalcum. I like it. I gave it an 8. I think that's about accurate. And I think it is beautiful, and I like the battling in there. But being a Bruno Cathala game, and hearing the hype, I just built this up so much. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a perfect game. This is going to be 10 out of 10. This is going to be top game of the year. And it just wasn't quite there. I'm not sure if just kind of the race to 5 points. I don't know if I like the way that feels. It's just because there's only 5, and sometimes it feels like you can get them easily, and sometimes it just feels very hard to get that next point, which I guess is all right. And like I said, I like the battling a lot in the game. Something about it just hasn't quite been that classic, that modern classic I was hoping for.
Yeah, I agree as well. I felt the same way about this one. I was really hoping for a little bit more, which is kind of disappointing because I think Michaela actually really likes this one. So maybe I have to play it some more. But yeah, I kind of got that same feeling. I'm like, I wish it was just a little bit better. There's some good stuff in it, but then I don't know. Sometimes race games just don't work for me when it's a race versus just getting a lot of victory points. I don't know. Sometimes it just is tough, especially when they are trying to determine how many points you have to race for. Because then, sometimes it'll feel like, oh, it's quick. Otherwise, it could be like long, grueling trying to get that. And sometimes it feels like, especially in some of these, that some players' paths to those points end up being a lot easier than your path to the points. And I don't know. But no, this one's fine. But yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more from old Bruno Cathala as well, with all the hype.
Yeah.
Oh boy, speaking of hype, this next one was probably one of my most hyped or excited games of last year. I wasn't really expecting it necessarily. I mean, I could have definitely seen another game in this world, but what it was going to be was I wasn't really sure. and it is from one of my favorite, if not my favorite, publisher, Stonemaier Games, and Jamie himself designed this one, and it is Expeditions, which is in the Scythe world. And yeah, this was one I was really, really excited about because he was like, "Oh yes, you can feel can feel kind of some of the stuff from Scythe and stuff." You have not played this one yet. You probably should play it. I think you'll like this one actually more than you like Scythe, but you've got to give this one a try. But yeah, I don't know. There was just something about this that I'm like, maybe it was the comparisons to Scythe, and I just really got hyped up and excited because I really love this world, really love this artwork, great production. I got the ironclad version, and so the metal mechs and stuff, and it just was like, I don't know. This feels like a way smaller game than what's in the package here. It felt like you were just doing less. Like when I played Scythe, I felt like its kind of grand table presence
Yeah.
was warranted. It just feels like I'm playing a big game. And this one, it feels like a big game, big table presence where I'm playing a very small game. I don't know how to describe it, but that's just the feeling I was getting, and it just did not live up to the expectations or hope of recapturing some of what I really loved inside. And I know a lot of people really love this one too. And this is another one getting an expansion. I think it actually drops this week when we're filming this. I don't. It probably will have already released by the time we release this video, but as of filming this, I think it's this week that the expansion is releasing, and it did say that it's fixing some problems with the game. So I don't know if that will address things that I felt. I'm not sure, but yeah, I was really hoping to enjoy this one a little bit more because I also liked the fact that they were this world's kind of delving deeper into kind of a meteorite strike and these weird things happening, kind of getting more uh, maybe Cthulhu or whatever theme into it a little bit. I thought that could be kind of a cool, interesting take to this, you know, alternate universe. But
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, it didn't do it for me.
Dang it. That's sad. People wanted that sequel to Side for so long, and at least a lot of people do like it, but
Yeah.
it's too bad for you personally.
But I think like a lot of people bring up, I think this one is probably better at the lower player counts,
Oh.
and Side is better at kind of some of the higher player counts sometimes. So if you do enjoy both of them, I think you've got your options then of depending on how many people you have playing. So that is good. That does that.
My next one, my number two, is a big game that I crowdfunded, backed, and uh, took took a while and a lot of help to get this game delivered. And in that meantime, we actually went and played it in Las Vegas, and you actually
Ooh.
liked it quite a bit. And that is Subterra.
Wow.
I wouldn't say that I am like hugely disappointed in this one. Like I just feel like this is probably the most shocking, so I decided to put it up pretty high. And there's just something about the gameplay that the goal is, it doesn't matter at all what you do in the game, you just need to get out of the exit. It's always going to be in the last 5 tiles. I haven't explored all the expansions, but just something about that, I'm like, is it just completely meaningless then, the entire game, where you're pretty much just trying to get through tiles and then all be at the exit? And I'm like, when I thought of that, I'm like, does that kill the game? So I'm a bit kind of mixed on it at the moment. Where I'm like, well, is this even, what's the point of all of these actions that I'm doing? It's all just to clear tiles. But I do still really like the theme and exploring through the caverns and trying to escape the terrors that I always imagine being underwater, but it's not underwater, it's just a cave. I like it, but it's not, again, kind of like, it's not as easy and quick. It's pretty quick. It's quicker than Atlantis Rising, but not quite to the level of Pandemic. So just not quite reached that top tier for me that I was hoping.
Yeah, this one we did do a different list recently of top surprises. And I didn't really think of this one. This one probably could have been on my list for top 10 surprises because I didn't know what this one was really going to be, and I was like, is it really that exciting? I really enjoyed this one, so I might even like it more than you. I guess I missed your rating? Did you have a rating on this one?
I think it
A 4
was
probably.
a
8.7.
8.7. Yeah, so
So
I
not
still
not
like.
pretty good. Not too good though.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible.
But yeah, I could see maybe being. I personally though, for if we're talking just like base game, base what you're doing, I think I actually prefer this over the what Pandemic does
Oh,
personally. So
interesting. Yeah, that's nice. We might have to
yeah,
do a whole talk about co-ops someday.
we might have to. Let us know in the comments below if you want to see that. But I just noticed here, my next one here is a second from a same designer on this list. I did not mean to do that, uh, but it's because I love some of his other games so much that I maybe had higher expectations. This is one that I played at 2D Con. You do not have it.
Dang,
I you
I was
you do
thinking
not
something.
have it, but you might be thinking the right designer at least.
Hmm.
I've only played this one once though, so that might play into it a little bit. And maybe with more plays, I could see it maybe not being as disappointing. But Evacuation was a game when I saw the board, I was super excited. I was like, "Oh, this looks really cool!" And this, you're moving kind of your bases start on Earth, and then you're kind of moving it all throughout the game over to this other planet, and there's kind of like rounds and stuff, and you've got to kind of get over there, otherwise you're really kind of out of luck. And overall, I really did enjoy what it was doing. I found it pretty fun, but at the same time, after the fact, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know if I would do like once I would play it enough to figure out kind of things that felt like the best things to do because there's like different types of production that you're doing on each planet. And I felt like I don't remember which one it was, but at the time I was like, this one really doesn't feel like I need that much production on Earth or original Earth or wherever it's supposed to be. Maybe it's not even Earth, I'm not sure. But it felt like I didn't really need that one that much. So it felt like, okay, I'm always probably going to get rid of that first and start moving that over to the
Yeah.
other planet. And I'm like, I don't know then if I would feel like after multiple plays, if it would be as interesting. I thought maybe you could, and I'm not saying you can't possibly, be trying different things, but just the way the game felt after that first play, I was like, I can't imagine getting rid of that first and putting that
Yeah.
over. I'm like, it feels like that would just be putting you in such a tough position, but maybe you could. Like I said, I've only played it once, so it could definitely, my thoughts could change on it, but I was definitely disappointed because I love the look of the game and I love the idea of what you were doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think overall it worked, but yeah.
I remember seeing that board and just thinking, oh my goodness, it's Terraforming Mars times 2. And I got really excited and then learned that it's probably going to be a bit heavier and maybe a little too heavy for me. So maybe someday I'll try it.
Yeah. I feel like if I hadn't played this was one I've seen for sale a few times on Miniature Market or Game Nerds or something, and I have not pulled the trigger on it. And I feel like if I had not played it, I definitely would have. That's how excited I was about
Yeah.
it. And yeah, I have not. So that kind of goes to show I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, what was that? That's Sushi.
Sorry, Sushi. I'm sorry, Sushi.
2 of his
You don't
games.
deserve to be on here twice.
He likes those little plastic discs, I see.
He does. He does like that.
Yeah, they're in Pulsar as well as Underwater Sea. Oh my goodness.
They are.
Got a theme. I guess if he puts them in there, it's going to be a disappointing game. That's the rule we've learned.
Is that what you were guess? Is that what your guess was going to be?
No, I was thinking a different publisher, Stonemeyer
Oh.
game.
Oh.
Which,
I see.
I don't think that's on your list. I don't.
I thought about that one. That did not make my list.
Okay. My number one is one of my most anticipated games that I've ever had, I believe, and I'll say I do like it, and I have enjoyed my few plays of it, and I was hoping to play this constantly solo, but it's just a bit harder to play, even though it's very streamlined. A lot harder to play and manage than I was hoping, and that is Return to Dark Tower. I'm so excited for this one, and the gameplay and the mechanisms for all that, how big the game is, feels as quick as Pandemic with what you're doing on your turn. It's just a simple, like 3 steps for your turn, just a few different core actions that you can do. And I love the app integration, all that, but trying to solo this and moving around the map, there's so many things that you have to put out there, and I think there's 2 or 3 missions every month, and it's I like to stick to just one character, especially, and I think it works with one character. But if I tried to do more than one character, I feel like that'd be a little too much. And I also have tried to put the expansion, the Alliance's expansion, which I was very excited with what that was adding, and that just adds guilds to each of the 4 corners, districts of the board. And I'm like, okay, that's way too much to manage in a solo play, especially since you have this big obstruction in the center, so you can't even see to the other side. It can fit on a lazy suits or anyone that we have, at least. So I like it, but I think I am probably preferring it for its multiplayer play over the managing it all solo at the moment. It's too bad because you're not a big fan of this.
That's unfortunate. I was going to say, if you go check out our other list of biggest surprises, you have had a couple that have been very positive surprises on me. This one was not one of those. I don't know what it was. I probably got to give this one another try, but I only played this once, and I was not having a good time with it. It was not a very pleasant experience. It's probably, unfortunately, like one of the worst experiences I've had with a board game in a while, I would say. I just did not enjoy it. But I could see maybe it just I wasn't in the mood at the time or something, or just the way it played out. Like I felt like everyone else was doing cool things and I just wasn't doing anything, and I just felt like I was being left out. Not like intentionally or anything. Just it wasn't just the way things rolled and ended up. Just the way it happened.
I get that. I think it might be better at like a sweet spot of 2 or 3 players versus 4, because there is only so much to do to actually progress the game. There's little things you can do, but yeah, you did kind of get the short end of the deal there in that playthrough, I remember.
But yeah, I'm surprised. I would not have expected this one on your list. That shocks me a little bit. I wonder if he knows what my number 1 is.
Ooh.
He probably has a good guess.
Yeah, I thought this might be in my top 5 of all time, and I wonder how high did you expect your number 1 to possibly get in your
rankings? From the hype it was getting and the different games it was being compared to, I was thinking it would definitely be a top 10 potential. And yeah, it definitely is not there. It's maybe grown a little bit with a few more plays, and it is Ark Nova. Yeah, this one was one. You've got the tracks of Rajas of the Ganges. You know, that's what it was sold as. Oh, you got these fun 2 tracks going around the outside of the board, and you're trying to cross them. I'm like, I love that in Rajas. It's great, perfect. And I think they were saying like the deck of cards, you've got kind of like a terraforming Mars almost, because they're all kind of different, doing, you know, these different things. I don't remember. I feel like there's another game they were saying, and the kind of upgrading of the cards, of getting more powerful as they kind of slide along, and then being able to flip those to make them even better. It's like, oh, that all sounds really, really great. And then there's a little bit of maybe polyomino, you could say, of putting the animals in there in their pens and stuff. But I don't know. And like, managing a zoo is a fun theme. I thought all these things were just amazing, great, going to lead to being one of my favorite of all time, with all the high praise it was getting for everyone, especially Tom Vassell is launching it up. And I was just not, I don't know, I just did not see it. And even as I've enjoyed it more, that probably started at like, if I'm being 100% honest, it's probably like a 6 or 6.5 for me. And it's probably gotten up into like the 7.5. I'm willing to play it range, and every now and then I might have a hankering for playing it type
Mm.
feel, but it still hasn't like fully captured me. I don't I don't know. It's just weird because it has all these things that I feel like I should like, and I just hasn't captured the magic that I was hoping it would, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is a great theme, and it does have many things from other games that we absolutely love. It is, yeah, it's crazy that it hasn't captured that. I would have thought that, like, oh boy, here's going to be Zach's new favorite game. And I think Michaela is the one who likes this the most of all of us. I don't know if
I
she
think so.
likes. I don't know if she
Shockingly.
likes the theme of like Zoo Tycoon, kind of
I don't
having a
know.
zoo. I know that's attractive theme to me. Uh,
Yeah. I don't know if that brings it in or what it is. Um, I think
did
she's
I
had
put
some
this in
success. I think she's had some success with the
seven?
game.
Seven.
So,
You had a seven? Wow. I
so
guess I
yeah, I
loved
don't
it.
know. It's on our 20 by 5, so it's getting. We've already played it a couple more times, and that's where it's gotten a little better for me. So maybe after the 5 games, it'll end up, getting closer to an 8. I don't know. Maybe once I start to see the similarities, but like uh, for Terraforming Mars for me, that was just one that I ended up really enjoying. And right after that first game, I knew I was going to want to play it again and again and again. Whereas in this one, I was like, yeah, I don't know that I need to. It felt long. I don't. Maybe that's part of it too. It was longer than I expected it to be. It's like Terraforming Mars is a long game too, but I never once felt like, oh gosh, Terraforming Mars dragging on. And people say that they feel that with Terraforming Mars, so I'm like, it's weird because I've never felt that, and I know we're not the quickest gamers, anyone in our group, so I'm like, I know our games are probably not the short games. There are probably some groups out there that can go right, get through Terraforming Mars 4 player an hour or something crazy like that. But yeah, this one feels to me like even once I do know, it's gonna still take multiple hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did anyone else feel that way with Ark? I know a lot of people love this game, so I
Yeah.
know. But did you have immediate love for it, or is this something that grew on you a little bit? I'd be interested
Yes.
in knowing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our top 10 games we thought we would love, but it didn't end up loving necessarily. But I don't think any of them, like we said, we still own most of these,
Yeah.
if not
As you can
all of them,
see, most of
very
mine
much
are
so.
rated eights and above.
So we still like them a lot. It's just they didn't end up being our all-time favorite games or like top games of all time. So uh, yeah, but let us know in the comments below what you thought. If you totally disagree with any of these, I'm sure there are going to be people that disagree with it, almost every single one of them. People out there probably love every one of these games, and I don't blame them because I think they all the ones I have on my list I have enjoyed an aspect about them
Yeah.
because mine are probably at least sevens and above for all of them as well. So nothing that I hate, but uh, yeah. But otherwise, subscribe so you can see our future top 10 videos. And we hope to see you on those videos. As always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.